So we are totally preparing for the hurricane, because we are in South Florida. And we've canceled, a lot of things like my meditation class because we've been taking the time to prepare. And in case you're curious about what preparing means, it means making sure you have drinking water, making sure the cars have gas, the electronics have electric. We have preparing in case there's no electricity. So, making sure that we have flashlights, things like that. And my husband had just gotten a generator because it's a good thing to have in Florida because we do get hurricanes. So he's been working on getting that set up. Oh, look, I can't quite tell. Her eyes closed. There's Nanny just all cuddled up to me. Nanny's been so sweet like that. But anyway, we're very fortunate so far because the hurricane isn't for a couple of days, but all the predictions are saying that I think we're going to just be in the outskirts. So sending thoughts and prayers to anyone who is going to get hit by it, especially in the Tampa area because they, just had Helene 2 weeks ago. So it's kind of crazy, but there you have it. That's what we're doing to prepare. Most of our cages are indoors, and so I had already brought the indoor cage in preparation. So I feel like all of my birds are safe, and I do have plenty of food and water for them, kind of thing, which is like the most important. Then with the sugar gliders and the dogs, of course, as long as there's food and water, they're easy. Birds, of course, especially if they're outside, it can be a little trickier. In case you're curious, a lot of breeders, they make sure that their cages are built to withstand a hurricane up to a certain category. And the idea being that you can't make a cage that's going to withstand anything. You just make a cage that is going to take pretty much as bad as it can come, kind of thing. Like you're right. Breeders make them so that they can withstand as much as possible. Now, an interesting tidbit for you. When it comes to hurricanes, there are some breeders that will gather their birds and they will put them in a carrier, like in a small cage, like the kind you would take to a vet or something like that, so that they can put them indoors or in some sort of shelter during the hurricane. Makes sense. And I think, some breeders might even have their cages set up so that there's the main part of the cage that's outside and then where their nest box is or something like that. I don't know if they can shut them off or what, but they kind of have like an indoor safe space. So some breeders don't really have to worry, like they might have damages with the cages, but their birds can go into the safe area. For example, like a nest box, but, of course with a nest box, you'd have to make sure if the cage gets damaged, you have to make sure that their access is limited. But, that might be a rare circumstance. But anyway, a lot of parrots, they will take shelter in their nest box if they have a nest box. And as you can imagine, gathering all those birds, especially because they aren't pets, right? The breeder parrots tend to be pretty wild kind of thing, so they aren't used to being handled. So catching them is really tricky. It stresses them out. I'm sure it stresses the people out. It's, just a hard thing. And then the parrots are so good at flying around, seeing new places, that kind of thing. But when they're breeders or in your home and they're used to just seeing their cage, it doesn't change the way it would change if they were flying around. Well, now what the routine they're used to is like a lack of routine. So it's really hard and stressful for them to go into a cage and to be displaced from their cage. Like everything gets different, and then there's the storm, and so it can be really stressful. And so there are some breeders who, like I said, they make those cages to really withstand the toughest hurricanes as tough as they can, so that their parrots can actually just go into their nest box. So, a breeder, hopefully what they're doing before and to prepare for hurricane, in addition to the water and, getting their house ready, they're hopefully checking the nest boxes, making sure that every parrot has a nest box, has a place to go and seek shelter from the storm, because it is far less stressful on the bird. It's more natural in the sense, of course, that in the wild, no one comes and collects the birds. I mean, honestly, my daughter and I were talking about that. There's ducks out back in the lake. And the other day I posted a picture of some wood storks that were perched on some lights at sunrise. Really super pretty. And we're going, where did those birds go? What do they do? And my daughter's like, do they really just take shelter under a bush? And I'm like, I think so. I mean, what else are they going to do? It's possible that some birds intuitively migrate away from the hurricane, but, we always think about them. Our thoughts and wishes go out to any wild animals and to everyone who has parrots outdoors, whether you're a breeder or not. I hope you have something like a nest box or that you can bring your bird safely in, especially on the West Coast, getting hit twice. Eek. All right, guys, stay safe. We'll keep you updated for us, but, I think we're going to be okay. You never know. Hurricanes can do whatever they want. But right now, our thoughts are really going to the West Coast.